First of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all of our fans, to everybody out there watching Marquette basketball. I can't believe it's already, December 22nd as the time has flown. But at the same time, I told the guys in the locker room after the game, it's about time for a little break for them. So this comes at a good time. In terms of the game, our theme for the game was collective response. It wasn't even so much that we lost on Tuesday. We just didn't feel like we were ourselves. And there's a lot of stuff that went into preparing for tonight's game. There was some, conversation between different guys, on our coaching staff and on our team that was, sometimes heated, sometimes a little volatile, but it's good. It's what's needed. We need to be able to come together around adversity and challenges. We have high expectations, so when we don't reach those expectations in a given game, then we're going to address that and come together around it. At the same time, I told the guys in the locker room tonight, probably won't be the last time we lose. So, the ability to respond is critical. And then hopefully we can continue to learn lessons through wins like tonight. And if we do lose a game, internalize that so that it doesn't happen as often. Was proud of David Joplin. I really got on him coming into this game about offensive rebounding and challenged him. I just feel like he could do more than he had done on the glass through 12 games. And so he matched his total offensive rebounds in 28 minutes tonight. And so I'm really proud of him, and it's amazing how that carries over to other aspects of your game, whether it's defensive rebounding, whether it's defending a tough player, whether it's shooting the ball, scoring the ball. And so it's poetic justice for him to have 20 points as well. And I would imagine our guys will vote him the domino of the game.
Shaka, you talked about the other night about having ultimate connectivity, 22 assists tonight after having 7 against Providence. What did you like about the way your team shared the ball?
We were a lot more connected tonight, a lot more clear, just in understanding how to play the game and how to help each other play the game together. It's not one-on-one. It's a unit out there on the defensive end and on the offensive end. And the way we play is very much it goes a lot beyond these individual statistics on this page right here. There's so many things that are not laid out here that affect what we do. And I thought our guys just had a willingness, starting with Tyler, to create for one another and share the ball with one another. And then, for the most part, we were ready to shoot. I still thought there were some balls that caught us by surprise that we could have made. Cam obviously didn't have his greatest shooting night, but he's going to have some phenomenal shooting nights coming up here. I can promise you that.
It was a little bit of a sluggish start, but then Benny Gold came in and hit those 3 threes. How do you see his confidence gaining this year?
I actually thought the start to the game, I didn't think it was sluggish. I thought Georgetown came out with really good fight, really good toughness at the start of the game, and then they made a couple really tough shots off the bat. I thought we were defending pretty well. Sometimes you defend well and they make a shot. Then on our offensive end, as happens sometimes, our guys, we continue sometimes to be surprised by the fact that the other team's going to be physical with us. So it took us a few possessions to settle into handling physicality and the way they were going to defend. Their pick and roll defense has been varied in different games, so we didn't necessarily know exactly what they were going to do until we saw it. But I thought, to your point, when Ben comes in, it just gives you a different element because now you got a guy that can stretch the floor at 6'10". His readiness to shoot was phenomenal. I think the first 3 he shot, he caught it at his face and he just shot it. And that's hard to do. But he has a pure stroke. He's someone that we love to, play through. And he's getting better and better.
I mean, it took a while for you to get the lead, but once you did, you pretty much ran away with it. Just what changed after Gold made those 3-pointers that allowed you to kind of assert yourselves the rest of the way?
Well, you know what's interesting about sports and basketball specifically is there's an obvious and you know, for good reason, there's a lot of focus on the score and the numbers that go into the game. But, you know, we talk a lot within our program about, regardless of circumstances, playing our way. And so that means we want to play our way if we're losing by 5, if we're winning by 5, if the score's tied, if the clock says 11:59 or if the clock says 7:08. Now, human nature can dictate, and this happened a lot at Providence, that if the game's not going quite how you want it to go, you start looking up there a lot. And you're like, I don't like that score, you know, and maybe that score means I should do this or I should do that. No, play our way, no matter what the score says. And so I thought our guys did a great job of doing that for the 6.5 minutes that Georgetown had the lead. And then once we took the lead, there is certainly a natural momentum that you gain, especially being at home with our crowd. The crowd was phenomenal, almost 17,000 people here. And it was able to snowball for us in a positive way.
Also, this is off the subject. We're doing a project on the 75th anniversary of the AP Top 25. I'm just wondering, what do you, as a coach, what do you kind of make of that poll? Is that something you pay attention to? Do players pay attention to it? And was it something you followed much as you were a kid or as a fan when you looked in the paper?
Well, I think that that's a great question. The AP poll is very significant, if for no other reason than fans and everyone that follows college basketball, that number is always attached to your name, you know, as a program throughout the week. And then there's a new AP poll, and you get a new number. And I think as players and coaches, we realize that the number in the third week of December doesn't matter so much, other than, you know, it's maybe a snapshot of what people think of you now. But if you lose to Providence and then beat Georgetown, what's your new number going to be? Or if you win both games or if you lose both games, that's a mathematical equation that has nothing to do with Marquette. But I think, to your question, players are aware of it because of social media and because it's just attached to our name. More importantly, opponents are aware of it. And I think that's something different for our guys coming into this year than coming into last year, is that, you know, when you have a little number next to your name or when you pick to win the league, there can be a higher level of motivation maybe on the part of the other team than they would have had if you didn't have that number next to your name. We don't control that. And as we saw on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 3 teams picked at the top of the Big East all lost. So that shows what that says. You have to come out and play the game and earn the win. And numbers are interesting for people that follow the game. But even, you know, I told our team in the locker room, the score of tonight's game, when we go to D.C., that game's going to be a war. I don't care what the numbers say tonight. That game's going to be a war. So any numbers from the past, whether it's a poll or previous games or even statistics, that doesn't necessarily predict what's going to happen next. You have to go out and make it happen. And I thought the guys did a great job of understanding and owning that tonight.
You guys have won 18 straight games here at Fiserv. You talked about the home crowd tonight. Just how did the atmosphere kind of play into your team's performance tonight?
I love the atmosphere tonight. I was grateful. You know, I've kind of gotten in the habit of, during a opening introduction, you know, they play that long video. I don't really watch the video because I've seen it before. So I take a moment and I kind of look into the stands and I see the 77 and I see Hank Raymonds and I see Doc Rivers and Bo Ellis. And, you know, I'm looking and I'm just like, man, I'm really grateful to be in these guys' arena. And these guys didn't even get to play and coach in this particular arena because it wasn't around, obviously, when they played. And sometimes I think, man, they would have really loved this place if they could have. Well, we're here now, and So it's on us, and it's incumbent upon us to appreciate what we have now. This was an awesome holiday crowd. This was about as nice of a crowd as Fiserv can be, minus the majority of our students who are home from break. And we're going to need them again 8 days from today when Creighton comes in here. And it gives us a huge boost. We don't take for granted who we have. We also don't take for granted that you're just going to win at home. You still have to make the plays that go into getting a defensive stop on that end and for putting the ball in the basket for Marquette on the other end.
With Stevie out, that necessitates bigger roles for Chase and Trey and Zaid. How will those guys benefit from the last 4 games the rest of the season?
Well, hopefully Stevie will come back soon because we miss him. It's you can't really quantify some of the things he does, although I did tell our team our floor slaps are down in the last 4 games. We're better tonight with that. Still not on Stevie level. Stevie's unique. Stevie's one of one. Stevie, again, got a 4.0. He's unbelievable. He's a very, very special person. And so with him not out there, it leaves a void. Chase is a dude no matter what. So Stevie's playing or Stevie's not playing. Chase is in the middle of everything we're going to do. He just so happens to start right now because Stevie's not out there. But he's going to play just as much either way. It's more about Trey and Zaid, getting more opportunity. And, between the two of them, they played about 23 minutes. Well, that's Stevie, So they're learning. As freshmen, the more experience you can get, the more you just get opportunities to make mistakes, have some positive plays. How about Al? I tell you, baskets per minute played. I mean, he's got to be up there. And, you can go back and check, but he's getting close to the total number of minutes that Oso played, in his freshman year. So we're excited about all those young guys. There's a toughness physically and mentally required to play in this league, and those guys are in transition as it relates to becoming that, but they're going to become that.
People are always curious about Nevada, just with his background and his reputation as being an offensive, I don't know if guru is the right word, but
he was the offensive coach against Providence.
Yeah,
I was.
I'm sure he'll
offensive
take
coach
credit
tonight.
for that. Yeah. Just curious, how your relationship working with him has evolved over the last couple of years.
I love Nevada because he's got really thick skin. He's been a head coach, and so there's our staff, me, Cody, Neil, Dre, rest of our staff, and then Nevada in terms of how he sees the game over here. And that's good. It's really good. I'm so glad we have him. If you look at, I've never done this, but if you looked at just points per game or offensive efficiency, in the 4 years that we've been together, he's coached on our staff. Compare that to prior to that in my career, in my head coaching career, probably about 10 more points per game since he's joined us. So he's phenomenal. I appreciate him because he balances out my craziness sometimes, and he never really judges me for it. He has a real humility, but also sturdiness to him that makes him really special for us. And we're going to need to continue to come together around, as a team, around all the things that he and I know we need to do on offense to keep getting better. Thank you, guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.